boys.
Man battle stations, helm all ahead flank. Fire torpedoes.
Fire the torpedoes! Aye, sir!
Copy, fire!
Roger that. Aye, sir! I never know where our sailing journey is going to take us. It's always a surprise, but this was like a really big surprise. I'm Elena, and this is Riley. We've been sailing around the world for the past 10 years, now with our 2 kids, and we're sharing all of our adventures here on YouTube. We got invited aboard a $2 billion nuclear submarine by the Commodore of the submarine squadron himself. You might not have heard of Guam, actually. It's this beautiful island in Micronesia. Its strategic location has made it a key point of interest and a territory owned by the United States. With its unique blend of cultures, stunning beaches, and rich history, Guam plays an important role in both the military and tourism sectors, making it a fascinating destination, definitely worth exploring. And you're going to learn a whole lot with us in this episode, so we're happy you're here.
So a while back when we posted our intended track across Micronesia, we got a very interesting email from Neil, who's a Commodore. He's in charge of a squadron of submarines, and him and his wife follow the show. And they
his
invited
kids,
us.
they're definitely watching this episode.
Hey guys, and they invited us on board a nuclear submarine.
So cool, Lenny. I heard you made a friend at the beach.
Colt Becker.
Actually, I made a friend as well.
Okay.
He'll be joining us for dinner this evening. He's a nuclear physicist who works on the submarine.
Really?
They're all nuclear physicists or have like a nuclear physicist background, he said.
Really?
I was like, dude, this was not the US Navy experience I was expecting.
No, this is insane. We're going to a random dinner.
Yes, with nuclear physicists. And you said you had the best burger ever?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocking.
slightly less impressive news, but
And so, as Neil promised in his email, he and his crew arrived at La Vagabonde at 9 on the dot to pick us up for our VIP tour. It felt surreal, especially considering we had just spent months sailing around the Northern Mariana Islands, where we were often the only people on each island. The contrast was striking, and we could feel the anticipation building. At the end of the world that he doesn't have shoes. He forgot them.
Yeah,
we just go back to the...
But on the way, we discovered Riley had forgotten his shoes, which I was mortified. Like, we had to turn around and go back to La Vagabonde just to get his shoes.
Mama brought her shoes.
When I was looking at Guam, I always had my eye on this particular bay, which was like incredibly protected. It turns out that's where they keep their naval base. No surprises there. There was a naval base, and where we anchored, you could just see there was naval ships. Let's call one a destroyer. I don't know the correct names for them, and then a whole bunch of submarines as well. And we were parked right in the middle of all of this.
So when we climbed up the side of the submarine, we were on all fours, we got to the top, and then I was like, why are they ringing the bell? Basically, one of the crew like whispered to me, and he was like, oh, it means someone important is aboard the
Which
ship.
I immediately assumed was me, but
It was definitely...
it was someone else.
So yeah, they ring the bell when the Commodore or someone important boards, and then everyone kind of straightened up and like, you know, Neil was here.
First impressions of being on a submarine.
A lot more out of the water and bigger and
It's actually huge when
stronger.
you're on board, isn't it?
Yeah, this feels huge.
We've heard a lot about this already. One of the things that was pointed out to me is the rubber sides is like an acoustic, stealthy, sneaky way of going through undetected. That's one of the first things that I've noticed.
We're on the surface right now because the ballast tanks, the main ballast tanks are full of air.
The whole going up and down thing on board a submarine is accomplished by ballast tanks, flood ports and trim tabs. In order to dive deep, a submarine must flood the ballast tank, which effectively sinks the vessel, and the way that they do this is that the captain has to scream, 60 degrees down bubble! And it helps if there's a Russian destroyer above them, slinging mortars around or something like that.
And when we submerge, the ship will open up the forward and aft vents, and that's how we take on enough water tanks. If you're familiar with aviation, they have an envelope where they have to have fuel versus weight of the passenger to stay in the air.
Yeah.
We had the same concept, but it's underwater. We're given this big, giant envelope when they designed the submarine for the ship to go underway in a time of war, fully loaded out in the torpedo room, fully stocked full of food, the boat goes out, they shoot all their torpedoes, launch all their missiles, eat all their food. The ship still has to weigh enough to be submerged underwater. So all that comes in an envelope, an operating envelope.
These are the 12 Tomahawk missile hatchets. They've got 1,000 miles of range. So the submarine will be submerged at that time and off they'll go and do their job.
It was all go, go, go. There was no real time to stop, slow down, get a great, like, steady shot.
Yeah.
Certainly no B-roll. It was just like run and gun.
We knocked the mic off the...
Yeah, the microphone got knocked, I think, climbing down the ladder. So there's a few minutes with no audio.
I'm going inside the submarine. It's extremely weird.
Yeah, it was like chaotic, and obviously like there's not much room to move past people in the corridors. But yeah, the first thing we saw was crew quarters.
What are you seeing, Josephine?
A bedroom. Just 3 beds.
Yeah, it's quite tight in there. They really do stack a lot of people.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
During the tour, like I knew that it was a big deal, but like getting on board this thing and seeing all of the, honestly, the technology and then the people behind it. So we were around nuclear physicists. Like these guys are incredibly smart. And it just made me like so unbelievably curious. So I spent the next week doing a massive deep dive into all things nuclear submarine, and then
Including watching the movies. We watched so many movies.
U571. But I did some proper research as well.
Yeah, that wasn't the research. He was an absolute nerd.
And then I was very fortunate to be able to organise a interview with Neil where I could ask him questions and we furthered my deep dive, as it were. Elena would like to know what is one submarine movie that you can recommend and why is it down Periscope?
Prepare for dive!
So stick around for the full interview with Neil.
Then they took us to their meeting room. So the guy told us a whole bunch of important stuff about the submarine. And then I noticed the lights above his head and I was like, what are they for? And he said that this table we were sitting at also doubles up as a surgery table if they were to have to do something out at sea. He said they haven't had to yet and they hope to never do that. But
So, which is exactly like our sailboat. Like everything needs to do at least 2 things, sometimes 3. It really took me back to when we were designing our trimaran and how complicated that process can be and the constant trade-offs. So we were trying to make ours homely but safe, fast but able to be operated by one person, lightweight but strong. We've learned that Le Vagabonde can kind of comfortably sleep about 8 people who are up for an adventure, whilst the Minnesota fits about 140 people. With that many on board, they really have to be on top of their game when it comes to organisation and efficiency. Quite the challenge.
So next we're taken to the bridge and we learn about the sonar system and how they detect other vessels nearby.
Once we submerge past a certain depth, there's no light in the water. So we don't use cameras, we don't use windows, we don't use any of that stuff because it's not very helpful for us.
Yeah.
What we do is just use sonar. So we listen to everything that's happening in the ocean.
Yeah.
That could be anything from sea life, merchants, and trawlers, and all types of things that you can hear. We listen, we try to identify what it is, and try to figure out where it's going. And then once we kind of have a bound of where it's going, then we know what we need to do if we need to do anything about it.
Sonar, short for sound navigation and ranging, is how submarines see in the dark. Sound travels more than 4 times faster in water than in air, making it the perfect tool for navigating the deep. By World War II, sonar had become a game changer. It could detect enemy submarines, map the seafloor, even track schools of fish. Today, it's incredibly advanced, though most of the exact details are classified. We do know this. There are 2 main types: passive sonar, which listens quietly for sound, and active sonar, which sends out a ping and listens for the echo. On board a submarine like the USS Minnesota, both systems are used together, giving the crew a 360-degree picture of what's out there, even in total darkness. It all looked very technical, but remember the kids found the Xbox remotes?
Yeah.
Which I think they used to control the cameras.
So what he's about to play around with is the Microsoft controller. I don't like to call it an Xbox controller because that means we're playing games. That's this button to move the scoop around.
This
Okay, now you're looking at the sky. So as you can tell, we're not a kind of a legacy type of submarine where we have a periscope where you kind of see in submarine movies. Everything for us is fiber optics. So it allows us to bring the control room down to the center of the ship where it's widest. Here I usually have 2 officers here, and on that side I have my tracking team. Over there is the ship's control. So what the Commodore was talking about, topside moving water around, keeping ballast on the ship, turning, speeding up, that all happens there. It's all fly-by-wire communication, so same type of things they use on a spacecraft or aircraft is what we use down here to be able to operate the ship. And that's what you can see everything. You do a really good job at looking at it too.
The officer deck gives the orders up here. Pilot, come left to course north. Come left to course north I, and then they just hold the stick until we're heading north.
Wow. We're in the mess here. All the condiments, coffee.
And this is an ice cream machine. Oh.
The mess is the social heart of every ship. These talented chefs keep the crew well fed and healthy during long missions, all the while managing supplies in such a tight space.
Please make this a regular meal. It's my favorite meal I've ever had on a submarine.
Next, they took us down into the torpedo room.
Oh, there's a torpedo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we're quite far below waterline at this point, and forwards, of course. We weren't allowed to go into the aft area because that's where the nuclear stuff is going on. But yeah, the torpedo room was really cool. The kids and then I got into a torpedo tube.
Yeah, you guys got into the tube where they load it.
You guys want to see inside the torpedo tube?
Oh, whoa.
There we go. Check it out. See it? And what's on the other side of that door? That's right. The ocean healing. Go in that however you want.
So they're gonna launch me out. Lenny. It's greasier than I thought.
Oh yeah.
This is a test torpedo. It's not active. Apparently all the stuff for that is over that side of the room, and it would take them to load a real one if they needed to.
That's classified, bro. These are beds down here for some poor, unfortunate new enlistee who's going to have to sleep in the torpedo tanks.
We learned a lot about the torpedoes, and they actually have like a string that connects it to the boat so they can guide it, which was weird. I thought that you'd shoot it and it would just go, but no, they're still connected by an optic fibre.
We haven't even mentioned, so before we hopped on the sub, you're not allowed any device, right? So you leave your phone in a pocket, which is just above the ladder where you climb down. The whole crew, no devices at all. We were allowed our camera, and we were filming like as much as we could, and after the whole tour, we had to give our cameras to one of the guys who was in charge of security, and he looked through all the videos to make sure there was nothing like that we couldn't have online.
So they were really insistent on going over every little bit of our footage afterwards.
It took ages.
Because there would be foreign intelligence agencies that are just going to be combing over every detail of this video, for sure. It was a very serious thing, the scanning of the footage afterwards, and they deleted a few files because...
Yeah, another reason why we have not much footage of the tour is because a bunch was deleted. Even though they do a really good job of like covering up before a tour, they cover what we shouldn't see. But yeah, there's some little things that I found.
We filmed a schedule and we got the nuclear codes if anyone wants to buy them.
So Neil and maybe a handful of the crew, they watched our YouTube channel, so they were familiar with our kind of content and what we were hoping to get out of the tour, and we did mention we wanted to film a skit. So now we're back in the meeting room and Neil is in full support. He's passing us outfits to put on. Like Josephine in her little...
She looked great.
She would be a great chef.
You look so great.
I would eat anything you made me.
Just don't zoom in on his shoes. You look great, babe.
You look so good in a uniform.
Fire torpedoes.
No.
Orders up!
No laughing.
Torpedoes, aye, sir.
I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
Man battle stations.
It's a really nice thing that they do after the tour. They give you some certificates. We got some badges. The kids got some hats. It was really, really cute. They do such a good job of it.
So it says, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. Be it known that your name, having explored the depths and showed true courage and curiosity in learning the ways of the silent service, is hereby declared an honorary submariner. Signed, Captain Neil Steinhagen, Commander, Submarine Squadron 15.
That was a really, really nice touch for the kids. They loved
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And we'll be keeping those little souvenirs for a long time.
So the people that were familiar with our channel in particular, and then other people that were just interested in sailing, did mention that they wouldn't mind coming on board, and so we were able to return the favour, so that was really cool. We had half a dozen guys come over onto our boat, and I got to show them our bridge and a forecastle and cabin and head and all the different things that they'd shown us as well.
Yeah, and not a lot of them had sailed, but they dreamed of it.
Big picture stuff is really similar, and then the details of how they run their boat, there's some crossover there, but yeah, it was really interesting to see how they run their boat, and yeah, we run ours, I guess. You weren't there when I was 7 and no one came to my clay turtle exhibition? You always float above it, detached, unbothered, buoyant. Well, I sank, Greg. Do you even know what it's like to cry underwater? It's inefficient and salty, just like me. You think I don't see what this is? You're projecting your own abandonment issues. I just want us to be emotionally available, Greg. But you just sit there, all PVC and neoprene and judgment. Gone are the days when it really was necessary to construct a therapist from miscellaneous nautical accoutrements in order to project your own trauma and paranoia onto an anthropomorphized object. If you're clever, like I am, you now do all of that to a BetterHelp professional. It's very simple. You fill out a questionnaire and you match with a therapist as soon as possible, where you can easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost if it's just not the right fit for you. BetterHelp, and this is a good one, with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot. Hey babe, how you going? I just finished up the ad for BetterHelp, where I've got the fender, and I think I did a good job. Hopefully some people sign up from that. I think people will appreciate the effort that I put in. One last thing though, I just wanted to, it's www.betterhelp.com/SLV, sailing. www.betterhelp.com/sailing. That's it. Good. All right, cool. Or people can click the link in the description. Probably it'll be in the top comment as well. And if you use that, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. Cool, thank you very much. What can we get you to write in the comments? Maybe something about Greg? Thumbs up for Greg? I don't know.
So Jai,
Yeah.
what did you think of the submarine?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really what I expected inside, but it was still really, really cool. Really small bunks, really tight spaces. They're a lot heavier than I expected, that's for sure.
How much do they weigh again?
They weighed, the small ones were 7,000 tons, and the big ones were 20,000 tons.
So we went on one that was 20,000.
Yeah,
Jeez.
huge and heavy.
Yeah.
Wild.
Alexandra, what did you think of the sub?
Very cool. Definitely not something I would ever think I'd do. The military was never something I was like around growing up, so I think it was just interesting to learn a lot of the ins and outs and the technical stuff about it, because otherwise I would have no idea.
Insane. So cool. I watched a lot of military movies with my dad growing up, so I got a lot of flashbacks. It didn't look the same way that I expected. It was more like homey. It's a lot of men in uniform.
A lot of men
in uniform and a few women. It was cool. Very, very cool actually. It's sick.
Wes, you got a bit of a different story on the sub because they went through all of our footage, so you got left behind.
I did get left behind. Yeah, I don't know, it's such a wild, complex piece of machinery, and the fact there's a nuclear reactor on there and they can just go full stealth. It's like an underground city, no windows. It's just so unbelievably complex in order to operate something like that. All
I
the
thought they'd
wires
have
and
one
buttons.
window, hey.
It's just insane.
I'm sad they didn't have a window. Like,
Yeah.
we can't see the fishies.
But it'd just be dark anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
true,
it'd be so
true.
deep.
Oh, another day in the life on the Vagabond. We never know what's going to happen.
I feel like this is one of those things I'm gonna be like at the pub talking one day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I went on a nuclear submarine once. And everyone's gonna be like, bullshit. This guy just keeps talking absolute shit to us. And no one's gonna believe me. And I'm gonna have to get out my little certificate. And they're gonna be like, that's not real. Like, that was made by Sailor Jerry. And I'm gonna be like, no, I went on a nuclear submarine. And it's just gonna be like, this guy's out of his mind.
We even got these, yeah. So cool, guys. Thanks for the best experience.
Yeah, thank you.
I wonder if that's like actually offensive.
Is it offensive? I hope not. Sorry.
Depends on the command intent.
Depends on how good we sound. Our harmony.
After a big, exciting day, we cruised into the sail club to chill out.
So good. So cheesy. Look at this side.
Oh my god, what did you get? What burger is that?
I don't know. It's just a cheeseburger.
Oh, damn.
This was just the start of our time here in Guam, and we knew we'd be soaking up tons of info from both the Navy and military folks, as well as the local Chamorro people who've called this place home for centuries. Tonight, we got invited to hang out for drinks at the Commodore's house. The tour we got of the sub was just the beginning. We'd end up having dinners at Neil's house.
Doing washing there,
with his
having the
wife
kids
Beck.
run around catching frogs.
Yeah, they just like welcomed us in. It was such a special time. We learned so much more, including the interview. Definitely stick around for that.
Yeah, that was very kind of them, and they made us feel very welcome.
Wow.
Can I have one? Yeah, you can have one. Don't have to. Frog jump! It's probably put them down.
Right? Can they American? That's what you should have some more. Can you see it with a Go on then.
I did not know she was filming then.
Oh, it's wet.
Alright, Lenny, pull. Oh no, my Prussic Alpine butterfly clothing is slipping.
I think there's a manatee behind you.
You're gonna need to get the halyard and winch me up, Lenny.
Stop too soon. Hold on, I gotta do it again. I got an idea. Tie this around me.
Jai's gonna... No! Not Jai! I'm the strong boy!
Stop trying to steal my fame, Jai.
Having Amazon deliveries here was both a blessing and a curse.
It's mail day.
For us sailors, it's such a treat to get mail, but it sure makes it hard to leave because there's always something more we could order or a package we have to wait on that's still on its way.
Oh yeah, mosquito nets for the Solomons.
This was our last big stop before heading off to some remote spots, so yeah, we ordered a lot of stuff. Do you guys remember our DIY base plate for the underwater housing? As creative as it was, we're really glad we won't have to be using that anymore.
You can press record with freedom and ease.
What's just happened, Alexandra?
I don't have my license. I have an Indonesian motorcycle license, bank card, and we are at a freaking
US Naval Base checkpoint.
And I'm the only person here with a US driver's license, and I didn't bring it. But Elena has the coin we received from the commander, and we have photos with all the military guys.
While the girls were a bit on edge leading up to their checkpoint, we hung out with some of the Navy guys who were kind enough to actually help us diagnose and troubleshoot a stray current that we had on board. Ours is not as bad as what the winds were dealing with, fortunately, but we had been getting the odd electric shock at the helm. We have ruled out many things, but have been unable to locate the source at the moment. My mind was also on the interview that I was really excited about having with Neil this afternoon.
We're just going to a grocery store, so this is the wrong way. This is the wrong way.
Can we just do a U-turn?
Yes, you can.
Sorry.
Wow!
trying to be professional, and then he found out we're not military. Thank you.
So where are you directing us, Josephine? Where is the grocery store? You took us to a base.
Model from the motor, which is going up to the dash.
Yes, the carbon one right here. Yeah.
The hot military dude instead of this music.
I'm so sad. You get some sriracha?
We have one on the boat.
Let's get another. Honey is $16.
Because right now we're trying to.
We finally squeezed in a photo shoot that we'd been itching to do since we got here, and it was actually Alexandra's last night with us. She had to dash off to England for something really important, and with the rushed packing after the photo shoot, we missed getting her farewell on camera. So a big thanks to Alexandra for being such fun to have around and for trusting us with your life. I can't wait to see you again soon. I love you.
Thanks for coming sailing with me.
I gotcha. You're okay. You okay?
We got that open.
Holy. Oh my god.
As a fellow mariner, I was intensely interested in everything they had going on. And so I did a week-long deep dive into the technical side of these subs, just because I was absolutely fascinated. Nuclear power is no doubt a contentious issue, but as a sailor, I like the idea of not having to refuel your boat for 30 years. And I certainly had some questions about it for the Commodore. Chapter 1. Inside a nuclear reactor, powering the invisible giant. These vessels have a nuclear reactor on board. You are splitting uranium. How do you stop it from sort of getting out of control?
The Navy uses pressurized water reactors, which are inherently stable. As the temperature increases inside a pressurized water reactor, it actually produces less power, making it easier to control.
A fusion reaction fuses atoms together. It's what happens inside a star. It releases an unbelievable amount of energy, enough to light up the entire universe. In its heart, the universe forges not just energy, but the elements of everything that we are. You may have heard the saying that we are stardust. On Earth, for practical purposes, we use fission. A fission reaction splits an atom, and inside this nuclear submarine, they are splitting uranium-235 by causing it to interact with a neutron. It splits into krypton-92 and barium-141, amongst other things. This causes a buzzword, and that buzzword today is chain reaction. This releases phenomenal amounts of heat, which heats water into steam to spin the turbines. Control rods, could you think of them as like a throttle, an accelerator, or you wouldn't think about it like that?
Not really. Think of the control rods like a thermostat in your house.
Okay.
Once you get the temperature set, then those control rods are just used to control the average coolant temperature inside the plant.
And then, the shutdown system, how would you?
When the submarine comes into port, we shut down the reactor. That's done by a controlled process of driving the control rods in.
Mm-hmm.
So we would transfer all the electrical loads of the submarine to shore power. We're here in Guam, so that's tied to the Guam electrical power distribution. Once all that power is transferred over to Guam electrical power, we secure all the steam loads, no more steam demand. The reactor's operating at a very low power. Then we drive the control rods in. That reduces the number of fissions that are occurring down to the level where the reactor is no longer producing heat. And then we say it's in a shutdown condition.
What tests do you perform here locally to make sure that Guam isn't affected by radiation?
Long before the prevalent endeavor of environmental safety started, the Navy has made protection of the environment a high priority, the Navy nuclear power program. Yeah. We go to great lengths to ensure that there are no adverse effects to the environment from the operations of nuclear powered warships. We do that through frequent sampling of air samples, water samples, sediment samples, and marine life samples.
And thus finishes Chapter 1. We will now begin Chapter 2, diving deep. How submarines master buoyancy. I really pushed Neil, the Commodore, and I think I might get him to divulge some classified information.
That's going into tactics, and I'm not going to go into the tactics. Classified, that's classified. But I can tell you that...
Sorry, US Navy. So how do you stop the submarine from crushing?
I like to say when underway, lots of things are trying to kill us. High pressure airlines are trying to kill us. Hydraulic pressure is trying to kill us. The sea is trying to kill us. And depending on what boat you're on, the cooks sometimes are trying to kill us. Then the operation of the submarine, that's on the watch standards and how they operate the submarine. We govern that by our submerged operating envelope. It's simply a graph of depth versus speed. They stay inside that submerged operating envelope and ensures that the submarine can be recovered at its maximum depth or its maximum speed if any casualty occurs. Imagine if you were as deep as you could go and you lost all source of propulsion, you'd still want to be able to recover the submarine. So we use that with emergency air ballast tanks.
Anyone familiar with scuba diving will be familiar with the ocean's crushing force at depth. This class of submarine is able to go to 800 feet, and long story short, that's 250 tons of pressure on each square meter of the submarine, which is like a freight train with 25 cars behind it, balancing on a manhole cover. Submarines resist crushing thanks to high-strength steel, cylindrical pressure hull design, and internal bracing and bulkheads.
So how long can you stay underwater for?
We're really limited by food.
Have you ever thought to fish?
No. We make our own oxygen. High school science class, you take water, you electrocute it and separate the hydrogen and oxygen. We discharge the hydrogen overboard because we have no use for it, and then we bleed the oxygen into the atmosphere, or we can take that oxygen and refill our oxygen banks if we've been using oxygen out of the oxygen banks.
One of the advantages of having so much power on board is the subs can just zap their water and make oxygen. Submarines have an electrolytic oxygen generator, an EOG, so that they can stay underwater basically indefinitely. Water is desalinated, seawater is processed into pure water, electric current is applied, electrodes inside the EOG pass a current through the water molecules split. At the cathode, H2O goes to plus 2OH at the anode. The water molecules split, and the result is the oxygen is pumped into the crew's air supply and hydrogen is safely vented outboard.
Okay, so you're only limited by food.
That's right.
What is an example of a small or large disaster, or just something that springs to mind with buoyancy, and how would your crews respond to that? Say you're taking on water.
Flooding. Depending on where the flooding occurs, that's a big casualty. On the fast attack submarines here in Guam, we have 2 watertight compartments separated by the watertight door about midway through the ship. The biggest thing for a flooding casualty is to make sure you're answering the right speed. I said earlier, buoyancy is about planes, angle, speed. We skip the planes and angle and we go right to speed. So ensuring that the personnel in the engine room are giving you the right speed is one key aspect of surviving a flooding casualty. If required, we have large air tanks located out in the ballast tanks in the free flood areas. Those air tanks can rapidly fill the main ballast tanks with air. So it pushes all of that water that's keeping us submerged out of the main ballast tank areas, and it causes the ship to come up. You've probably seen on movies where the submarine comes out of the water really fast. That's how we recover from a flooding casualty.
Chapter 3, Silent Hunters. What is the real mission of a submarine?
You might have said these when we were talking at your house. The primary goal of US submarines was to project power, deter enemies, and gather intelligence. Is that right?
Yeah. One of our national strategic goals is peace through strength. One of the strengths that the submarine force brings is the unseen deterrence. The adversary can't plan for what the adversary can't see or detect. U.S. Navy has 3 classes of submarines: a ballistic missile submarine, guided missile submarine, and then the 5 submarines that we have stationed here in Guam are what's classified as a fast attack submarine. Fast attacks have 5 missions: anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface ship warfare, the strike mission or guided missile mission, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and then the last one is naval special warfare operations.
Let's imagine that the captain of a submarine has been given orders to go and attack another vessel. What do you do? How do you do that?
We like to keep our submarine tactics close hold, classified, but I can tell you that the strategic importance of Guam is the only forward deployed submarine base that the U.S. has. This is a location of great importance to the U.S. We are in the middle of the Pacific, and because of that, all the submarines in my squadron are always certified for combat operations. That's not something you can say about other submarine squadrons that the U.S. has.
You did say to me that it can be like having a knife fight in the dark.
We're always trying to improve our stealth technology, and we have to keep our acoustic superiority against our adversary. Unfortunately, other nations are trying to do the same. So what that can end up is a very close range encounter. And at close ranges, you can't afford to make a mistake. The tactics vary based off of who the adversary is, what type of submarine that is, but understanding his weapon system is important, and understanding to use the right tactic against that adversary is also important.
What weapons are on board the Virginia class?
We carry the ADCAP 48 torpedo and the Tomahawk land attack missile.
Chapter 4, Stealth Technology. How do nuclear submarines stay hidden? Nuclear submarines really are masters of stealth beneath the waves. One key feature is the pump jet propulsor, a shrouded rotor that reduces cavitation noise unlike traditional spinning propellers. Also, the hull is coated with anechoic tiles, which is special rubber that absorbs sonar waves. This prevents them from being reflected back onto enemy sonars. The SG-9 nuclear reactor uses natural circulation, which eliminates noisy mechanical pumps, making it almost silent. Inside, machinery like turbines and pumps are raft mounted on vibration dampening platforms, which further isolates noise. These technologies make Virginia-class submarines quieter than the ocean's natural noise at certain speeds, allowing them to hide within the ocean itself. Finally, degaussing systems reduce the sub's magnetic field, which makes it harder for an aircraft to detect them using magnetic anomaly detectors. In the vast ocean, a nuclear submarine can remain invisible, silent, and undetected. Stealth on a submarine is just being quiet.
Yes. It's also the submarine culture. Not only do we rely on the submarine itself being quiet, but it's how the crew operates the ship. We have what we call a sound silencing program that starts in port. It starts with maintenance and maintaining all of our equipment, looking for those sound shorts where someone may have, they bring their workout weights with them and they jam them in the outboard. One of the quieting features on a Virginia class is the decks are sound insulated on hydraulic mounts. You ruin all that stealth technology when you have a barbell from the deck out to a frame on the submarine. Now you've created a sound short. It's not slamming the door, it's leaving the lid down on the toilet so it doesn't slam shut.
Do you find yourself doing that at home, just out of habit?
If I slam a door, I always scold myself internally. Because I just try and avoid that.
Okay, so we're stealthing around underwater. How do you navigate?
We navigate with GPS as a source of navigation.
And that can't be detected?
We're in receive mode, just like in your car when you're getting FM radio. You're just receiving those waves of energy. You're not transmitting energy off your ship. In port, the submarine will have a GPS location. That location then gets put into two inertial navigators, two gyros. Like most systems on board a submarine, our assumption is 2 is 1, 1 is none. So we have two navigators. Once we submerge and we no longer have a continuous GPS location, those two inertial navigators sense roll, pitch, and yaw of the submarine, and they tell us in an area of uncertainty about where we are in the ocean. And then we compare those two position sources next to each other to make sure that they're operating correctly. In the situation of a loss of GPS, we have other means of determining our location. I said we're combat ready. We're ready for all situations. So a GPS spoofing or a GPS jamming situation, we can't rely on GPS alone to tell us where we are. So we have other methods of determining that.
You mentioned the Hunt for Red October before. Are there really gigantic underground canyons resembling the geography of that, where you're going along and a guy's like, full right rudder on my mark in 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and you...
Like, is that next level navigating?
Do canyons like that exist? Is it as crazy down there as it is up here on land?
There are canyons that exist. Do we race through them?
Yes.
I never have.
Every Sunday afternoon?
To me, that would be very, very precise navigation. Do we have the ability to know exactly where we are? Yes. At that speed, to me, it would put the ship at risk. We're always doing risk versus gain calculus. What are we down there for? Do we need to be down there? But bottom topography, not to lighten that at all, bottom topography has a really profound effect on the way sound travels. And to us, the way sound is propagated in the water, that's a big deal. And becoming masters of how sound is propagated through the water, that could mean the difference between our torpedo finding the enemy or our torpedo not finding the enemy. Or if we're getting shot at, if we don't know how to exploit how sound travels in the water, then we're putting the ship at unnecessary risk.
Well, Commodore, thanks so much for your time.
You bet.
Really, really appreciate it.
This week we showed you this side of the island, but next week we can't wait to introduce to you two awesome locals, Francesca and Hilan. These guys have this adorable wild boar that they rescued after its mum passed away, and the kids and us could not get enough of it. They filled us in on the island's complex history, especially during World War II when it was occupied by the Japanese and then taken over by the US. It was a tricky time. The US has been here ever since, but like many remote islands, Guam is slowly losing some of its untouched charm. With American influence came things like Spam on the shelves and a rise in high fructose and high fat products, shifting the traditional Chamorro way of life that revolved around hunting and sailing. But Francesca and Hilan and others are determined to keep their culture alive and celebrate it. We were really reminded of how important it is to respect and understand the history and traditions of the places that we visit. Hearing their story was super eye-opening, and although some of the things they shared were just for us, we learned so much during our time here and can't wait to share it all with you next time. Plus there'll be some boat dramas from our daily life on board the Vagabonde.
We want to cancel the checking out from Guam. We have to turn around.
And we just had one of the best sales of the year with our Jenica up. You won't want to miss the next one. Hit that subscribe button, it's free to do so, and you'll get notified every time we release a video. And please guys, if you liked this video that you just watched, please give it a thumbs up because it took us months to put together. Such a mission. So yeah, hope you liked it and we'll see you guys very soon. Thank you.